Vikings, Bengals. The Bengals last week made easy work of Indianapolis. Meanwhile, you got Minnesota, and they're playing musical chairs, Russian roulette at the quarterback position. Nick Mullins is going to be their starter for this matchup. Joshua Dobbs, the magic wore off. He didn't look good against the Raiders. Nick Mullins put this team in position to get a field goal, which ultimately was their only score on offense. Going against Cincinnati, Minnesota needs more out of their offense. Is the quarterback change to Nick Mullins full-time going to be enough to get things jump-started? Justin Jefferson, he's questionable for this game. You still do have TJ Hockenson and Jordan Addison. Cincinnati's defense has had a big step down in performance compared to how they played the previous seasons under Lou Anarumo. 2023, the secondary has been inconsistent. The pass rush has been there, but not as good as what has been in past years. Minnesota offensively against this secondary, I like the matchup. Jordan Addison has been one of the best rookie wide receivers all year long, and TJ Hockenson, he's going to be hard for this Bengals secondary to match up with. However, is Nick Mullins going to be able to throw accurate passes and make good decisions with the football? That's what this game is going to come down to. Cincinnati doesn't have a great run defense, though. But Minnesota, are they going to be able to take advantage of that? Because they haven't been able to have success running the football all year long. They're one of the worst rushing teams in the National Football League. Now, Cincinnati, their run defense held Indianapolis to only 46 total yards on the ground last week, which is a huge plus. If you can do the same thing to the Minnesota Vikings and you can get them in a situation where they just have to rely on Nick Mullins to win them the game and they got to throw the football 25 plus times to do it, you feel confident if you're Lou Anarumo about how many stops and how many potential turnovers your defense could force in this game. Minnesota, defensively, they have to be the sole reason for why this team can get this win. Okay, Jake Browning has played some phenomenal football the last couple of weeks. They got an upset against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They pulled off another big win last week against Indianapolis. And I said a couple of weeks ago that Jake Browning is like the great value version of Joe Burrow. You ever go to Walmart and you go to the cereal aisle, you got Fruit Loops, and then you got the great value Fruit Loops right next to it. Jake Browning is great value Joe Burrow. He's really good when he's able to get the ball out fast, when they can get him in rhythm. He's playing in structure. He's accurate in the short intermediate passing game. Doesn't make too many bad decisions with the football. He doesn't have a lot of athleticism. He can get out the pocket and maybe pick up a yard or two, but he doesn't have the kind of elusiveness that Joe Burrow has. But one thing that Jake Browning has done a really good job at for Cincinnati is taking care of the football and making accurate throws when he's in rhythm. And they got great wide receivers, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. The Vikings, their defense is a really good matchup when you think about what Cincinnati likes to do offensively. They like to get the ball out fast. Well, Brian Flores has a really aggressive style defense. And with how aggressive this defense is, if they can throw off the timing between Jake Browning and Chase and Higgins, that's going to end up forcing Jake Browning to get out of structure, get out of rhythm, and maybe you can get a couple of turnovers out of Jake Browning. Okay? Now, Jake Browning, if he can take care of the football, I believe that Cincinnati's offense, they may not score as many points as what they did last week against the Colts, but if they can get the 24 points or just 20 points, you feel really good about their chances pulling off this win. Minnesota's offense, they're losing a lot of steam. You don't really have any answers at quarterback. You're going with the Russian roulette mindset at that position, and that's something that you really can't afford to do this late into the season. You need serviceable quarterback play. Nick Mullins looked good against the Raiders, but the Raiders are terrible. They don't really have a good defense themselves. And against a really well-coached defense and Lou Anarumo, although they have had a drop-off in production this year, they're still good enough to slow down Minnesota's offense, or what they have left of an offense, due to the injury to Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins. That's why I'm taking the Bengals to get the win. Cincinnati is a 3.5-point favorite. They should cover this game. Minnesota offensively, they struggled to run the football. They may have some success here and there throwing the football on this secondary. This is a fairly new secondary with a lot of new faces, a lot of young players. You got rookies such as Jordan Battle in there, DJ Turner. And when you got a young defense like this, you're going to have some missed assignments, and that's going to lead to some big opportunities downfield for Minnesota potentially. But overall, this is a defense that shouldn't allow Minnesota to crack even 17 points in this game. I'm not confident that they're going to get great play out of Nick Mullins. And they may end up going back to Joshua Dobbs at some point during this game. Give me the Bengals. 24-10 is my final score prediction for this game.